Now we're going back to the chapter 3, IRDA and the licensing functions. In this chapter we will cover various aspects of insurance company licensing, registration, etc. What IRDA will do or what IRDA does for licensing, registration, etc. in case of insurance companies. Then reinsurance regulations for life and general insurance companies. Then about insurance intermediaries, agents, corporate agents, brokers, third-party administrators and surveyors. At present we are having these 5 intermediaries. Bank assurance are treated as part of corporate agents. Okay, so the question on difference between agent and broker also will be answered. And system is slightly changed. We are not going as per the book. In book, information about insurance company is slightly later, about intermediaries in beginning, but we are taking here information on insurance companies in beginning. Later we will be dealing with intermediaries. So to begin with, IRDA's role in registration of insurance companies. First of all, whoever comes to IRDA for registration should be registered as under applicable law. Like if it is coming as a company, then it should be registered under Indian Companies Act 1956. If it is partnership firm, then registered as partnership firm under Partnership Act. Like that. If it is limited liability partnership, then once again registered under provision of limited liability partnership firms provisions. So like that. Then it has to come to IRDA. So first requirement is it should be registered under respective laws. Then IRDA will entertain the application. Then as per Government of India regulation, foreign holding in any company should not be more than 26%. The sector, when it was opened up in 1999, it was decided that the sector is opened up for Indian insurance company. And Indian insurance company is defined as any entity which is having maximum foreign holding 26%, not more than that. So maximum holding is allowed 26%. The company can be either life insurance company or non-life. It cannot operate in both the fields simultaneously. If any entity wants to come in both the sectors, then they have to form 2 separate companies. We are having 2 separate companies of the same group but as different entities. One as life insurance company, other one as general insurance company. The name of the company to be identified as insurance company, so that from the name one can make out that this is insurance company, or assurance company. Generally assurance word is used for life insurance traditionally. Minimum capital requirement is 100 crores for direct insurance companies and 200 crores for reinsurance companies. Capital can be higher, but these are minimum capital requirements, and out of this maximum 26% foreign holding is allowed. As we saw, separate application for life and non-life is required because separate companies are to be formed for life and non-life sectors. Prior to application, actual application, the company should apply for licensing application. As a preliminary scrutiny, IRDA will scrutinize the application and decide whether a full application can be made to IRDA by that entity or no. If it is rejected, then within 30 days it can apply to IRDA for reconsideration. Then after IRDA accepts the intention to form an insurance company, then formal application in R2 form is to be made. Formal application for preliminary application is called R1 form. So R2 form is main application for licensing. Then main application for licensing in R2 form is to be filed along with requisite documents, and whatever deposit is required as per regulations is to be given, and proof is to be given to IRDA that requisite deposit is made with required authority. It also to be filed with IRDA. Then IRDA will scrutinize the application and register the company if it meets with all the requirements and IRDA is satisfied that it is necessary to register the particular entity as insurance company. It will be benefit for insurance sector and for India. But if any application is rejected, then appeal can be made to Government of India. Then after 2 years only, that entity can reapply for the license. In case of renewal of license, the license is valid only for 1 year, and before 31st December, renewal application is to be made. The fees is 50,000 for each class of business and plus 0.2% of total gross premium for financial year for which application is to be made, or 5 crore whichever is less. So we have to take 50,000 per class as base plus 0.2% of GDPI or 5 crore which is less. So A is 50,000 plus 0.2% and B 5 crore whichever is less is to be paid as renewal fee. IRDA can suspend a license or registration of any insurance company if they find that working of particular company is prejudicial to policyholders' interest. IRDA asks for certain information and that information is not given, or the insurance company not filed a return within time limits and they have defaulted in that. If any inquiry is conducted by IRDA, insurance company has not cooperated, certain manipulations are observed by IRDA during inspection or out of investigations, or any complaint from public, and it has not made investments in infrastructure as per IRDA regulations on investments. IRDA can cancel registration of insurance company also when deposit is not made in time. Solvency margin which is required to be maintained is not maintained. Generally, IRDA will give notice to insurance company to try to maintain that solvency margin within given time, and after notice, if within that given period the solvency margin is not achieved, then license may be cancelled. If company is in liquidation, then also IRDA can cancel the license, or insurance company transfer its insurance business to other entity without IRDA's permission, or return deposits which it had kept with authorities, then also license can be cancelled, or Government of India directs IRDA to cancel particular company's license on financial grounds or grounds of national security, etc. This license cancelled can be reviewed on application when the insurance company, wherever it has faulted, those things are corrected by making deposits and fresh application is made for renewal of registration. If IRDA is satisfied, registration can be reinstated. Till now, there is no case of cancellation of registration in India. For solvency margin, certain companies were given notice, but within notice period, those companies have achieved solvency margin, so there is no default. Solvency margin is the comparison of assets versus liabilities. So assets should be always more than the liabilities. Reinsurance. Every insurance company operating in India should be having reinsurance program, whether it is life company or non-life company. It is mandatory for life insurance companies also. Whatever life they are insured, for that they should be having a reinsurance program. General insurance companies also should draw up their insurance program, taking into consideration their financial strength. In general insurance, the acceptance of the reinsurance arrangement also depends upon the financial strength of company and their acceptance limits of direct insurance. Then outstanding claims are also to be provided appropriately and incurred but not reported claims, which are also to be provided by general insurance companies. IBNR is mainly related to general insurance companies. In life insurance, there are reinsurance regulations 2000. There was question about regulations of life insurance companies. So this is one of the regulations. It should have reinsurance program, as we saw just now. That program is mandatory, and that program should be supported by actuarial certificates. The program should be filed with IRDA at least 45 days before commencement of financial year. It should incorporate any changes if supported by IRDA, and any reinsurance program should see that maximum premium is written in India. Reinsurer to be, the reinsurance company, if it is overseas, to be having BBB of Standard & Poor's rating. This is the minimum requirement, or equivalent to that as approved by IRDA. It has to give information about reinsurance in their annual accounts. Similarly, for general insurance, there are reinsurance regulations 2000. General insurance companies should try to retain maximum premium in India, try to develop more and more capacity. For the purpose, they may form pools, etc. We are having third-party pools. We are having terrorism pools. Shortly, another pool for nuclear risk also will be coming up. The purpose of reinsurance is to secure best protection, so that they have to select good reinsurance companies. The system should be such that administrative part is simple, and there should be minimum ceding to GIC Re, which as we saw earlier was converted from GIC General Insurance Company to General Insurance Reinsurance Company. So at present it is 5% minimum retention. It started with 20%. This is minimum. If insurance companies wish, they can cede more premium to GIC, and as we saw that purpose of regulation is to see that maximum business is retained in India. Like life insurance, here also filing of program at least 45 days before commencement of financial year is compulsory, and on entering with any treaty, it is to be filed with IRDA within 30 days. Copies to be filed with IRDA within 30 days. And if IRDA asks for further information or reinsurance program or reinsurance contracts or about reinsurance company, the same is to be given to IRDA. Now we'll see insurance intermediaries. Presently there are 5 insurance intermediaries: insurance agents, corporate agents, bank assurance, brokers, insurance surveyors and loss adjusters, and third-party administrators. Corporate agents, brokers, and third-party administrators have come in India only after opening up of insurance sector in 1999 under IRD Act. All the intermediaries are regulated by different regulations applicable to intermediaries, having respective names. In India, insurance premium procuring agencies are agents, corporate agents, and brokers. Agents and corporate agents can work only for one insurance company in one sector, that is either life insurance company or general insurance company. But brokers can work for all companies, whether in life insurance sector or general insurance sector. If IRDAI has given specific license, for example, for general insurance sector only, then that broker cannot work for life insurance sector. But if IRDAI has given direct broker's license, then broker can work for life insurance sector also. So one sector means all companies in that sector. Broker can be direct broker, reinsurance broker, or composite broker. Direct broker deals with only direct insurance business, reinsurance broker deals with only reinsurance business, and composite broker deals with both direct and reinsurance business. Licensing is required by IRDAI, and for whatever type of license is given, this broker can operate in that field only. Composite agents means the agent who is having combined license for working in general as well as life insurance field. Corporate agents also can be composite corporate agent. For brokers, IRDAI is issuing licenses directly. For agents and composite agents, licenses are issued by insurance companies. The function has been delegated to them by IRDAI, but IRDAI keeps supervisory watch on them. Composition of agents. Agents are individuals. For them, minimum education requirement is 10th standard if they are operating in area where population is less than 5,000. If population is more than 5,000 in a city or town, then the agent should be minimum 12th standard pass. They should undergo 50 hours training. Training can be classroom or online. Capital requirement is nil. No capital is required to start insurance agency. Only passing of the exam after appearing training is compulsory. Registration fees is 250 rupees and the license is valid for 3 years. After 3 years, it is to be renewed at fees of 250 rupees. As we saw, no capital is required. At the same time, no deposit is required to keep in favor of IRDAI or any other agency. The license can be cancelled by designated authority, which is generally the insurance company, for not following code of conduct, etc. Agent can have a single client and operate as agent. There is no limit of maximum premium or maximum business from any one entity, which is there for other intermediaries like corporate agent or broker, which is slightly later. Agents have to follow code of conduct under regulation of agency regulations. Then corporate agents are also regulated by IRDAI. They can be non-individuals like firms, partnership firms, companies, banks, non-government organizations, societies, microfinance institutions. They have to apply for license and their authorized person and marketing staff should be having license by undergoing 50 hours training and passing the exam. For corporate agents, minimum 2 persons are required who have undergone the training and passed the exams. Once again, education qualifications are like agents, 10th standard or 12th standard. Like agents, corporate agents also do not require any capital to be invested. Registration fee is 250 rupees renewal fee also 250 rupees. Also, no deposit is required to be kept. Designated authority, that is insurance company, can cancel corporate agency license. Unlike agents, there is single client limit is 50%. So single client's premium out of total premium of any corporate agent should not exceed 50%. If it is there, then it has to increase other business to bring down that limit to 50% or stop accepting business after it has reached 50% from that particular client. They have also to follow code of conduct as laid down in regulations. Broker. As we saw broker earlier, it is also an intermediary who procures insurance business. It can be proprietary concern, partnership firm, limited liability partnership, cooperative society, company, whether private limited or public limited. Education requirement is graduation or technical graduation, technical qualification. Then 100 hours or 50 hours training is compulsory. 100 hours for non-technically qualified people, 50 hours for insurance qualified people, chartered accountants, company secretaries, cost accountant, etc. as allowed under IRDA regulations. They have to undergo 100 hours or 50 hours training, and this is required for minimum 2 persons and every marketing person. These out of 2, one should be principal officer or broker and one other person. And whoever does marketing should also should go under this training and pass the exam. Capital requirement is there for direct broker 50 lakhs, reinsurance broker 200 lakhs, and composite broker 250 lakhs. For agents and corporate agents, we saw that no capital requirement is there. Registration fee and renewal fee is 1000 rupees, but unlike agents and corporate agents, they have to pay annual fees depending upon their premium income in last financial years. IRDA can cancel the license or keep in abeyance, but there are appeal provisions also. Single client limit is also there, but it is different from corporate agent and it varies from year to year. 50% of total premium for the first year, 40% for second year, and 30% for third and subsequent year of operation of broking firm of company. It has to follow code of conduct as per brokers regulation. Eligible requirements for brokers. It has to maintain separate accounts for reinsurance if it is operating as reinsurance broker or composite broker. It has to take professional indemnity insurance because broker is treated as professional person, so they have to take professional indemnity insurance for limits prescribed under brokers regulation. Agents and corporate agents are not required to take this insurance. Accounts are to be maintained as per IRDA regulation and also as per applicable law to them. In case of company, as per company laws. Membership of Brokers Association is compulsory. In India, we are having a body called Indian Brokers Association. Another intermediary is TPAs, third party administrators. They deal with health insurance service. Minimum capital requirement is 100 lakhs. TPAs are also governed by IRDA regulations. Minimum capital requirement 100 lakhs, and after obtaining license, they have to do they have to provide cashless services in case of hospitalization, and also they have to process claim on reimbursement basis. Reimbursement is the Insured takes treatment at the hospital, pays money out of his pocket, then submits document to third-party administrator who processes the claim and informs insurance company about payment of the amount. That is reimbursement system. TPS also assists the insureds in case of claim, in dealing with hospitals, in guiding the insureds, searching for suitable hospitals, etc. The important function of TPA is to collection of data for decision of insurance company. Various data are required by insurance company to change the premium either upward or downward, devise various insurance covers, and provide for certain add-ons, etc. As we saw, licensing is by IRDA. Fees is 20,000 rupees as processing fee plus 30,000 at the time of granting of license, and at the time of renewal, once again it has to pay 30,000. If application is rejected, there is waiting period of 2 years. Every TP has to have agreement with the insurance company, and that agreement is to be filed with IRDA within 30 days of signing the agreement. TPA can work with any number of insurance companies. Same way, insurance companies can work with any number of TPAs. TPAs have to follow code of conduct. As per code of conduct, they have to act professionally. Wherever asked by authority, IRDA, they have to give information. Wherever insurance company are to be informed about any material fact which is observed by TPA in any risk while dealing with particular types of claims or particular hospitals, they have to inform. They have to collect documents and process. This is the main function of TPA, processing of insurance claims. So they have to collect documents from insurers, claimants, process and inform insurance company about payment. They have to assist insured in every stage in case of hospitalization, about documentation, about process, and they have to see that insured's interests are not prejudiced. Under no circumstances, TPS should advise the insured to shift business from one company to another. They have to observe courteously, and whatever information they are collecting in form of data while dealing with claims, they should not sell to other agencies. Wherever TPS license is cancelled or surrendered, this data is property of insurance company and should be returned to insurance company. They have to maintain confidentiality of data collected by them during their operations. If they want to advertise, they can advertise, but not without consent of insurance company. Insurance company's prior consent is taken. They should not advise wrongly to the insured. Similarly, they should not have any arrangement with insured to share claim proceeds for settlement of the claim. They have to follow IRDA guidelines which are announced from time to time. And one of very important function is to advise insurance company on formation of new policies and covers depending upon their experience in dealing with TPS and out of collection of data. Last intermediary is surveyors and loss adjusters. Under IRDA regulations, there are 3 categories of surveyors, A, B and C, and every surveyor can have license for working in selected branch. Some options are given by IRDA at the time of licensing, and they have to select 4 branches out of those options. The surveyor should have technical qualification like engineering, chartered accountancy, insurance, then only they are given license. And after coming into operation, surveyors regulation, the new surveyors have to undergo training of 1 year under B and C type of surveyors, B and A type of surveyors, for 1 year in theory and practice, and appear for examination as prescribed by IRDA. Presently, this examination is conducted by Insurance Institute of India. After passing the exam, they can apply for license, and depending upon their training experience, their qualification, IRDA can give them license. The surveyor's duties and responsibilities are to maintain confidentiality, to remain neutral, because they are appointed by insurance company. They should not sacrifice client's interest, or because they are getting business for client, they should not sacrifice insurance company's interest. So that neutrality is expected, and they have to observe. They have to conduct survey. Survey may be in the branch for which they are holding license, and the full process of survey they have to do. They have to work on claims, full processing up to issuing of the report and recommending claim to the insurance company. The more important function is advising clients and insurance company on loss minimization. Because they are in the field, they are observing losses, they have to advise the client to do certain loss minimizing measures which can help both client and insurance company to minimize the losses. At the time of preparing report and handling the claims, they have to see the policies, and as per policy they have to advise insurance company about admissibility of claims or otherwise. So any faults are there in policies or any deficiencies are there in policy, they have to inform insurance company to correct them, and for future also they can give suggestions to the insurance companies. If any queries are raised by insured or insurance company about the loss or on the report, the same are to be replied by the surveyors. Though surveyors are technical experts, they may not be knowing all the fields. For example, a chartered accountant may be handling a stock claim on engineering items. Now, the chartered accountant is a fit person to handle stocks claim under fire policy, but he may not be having full knowledge of engineering items. So he may employ he may employ an engineering expert. So that is allowed under regulations. The important function of surveyor is also to deal with salvage, to advise insured to keep salvage safe, how to dispose it of, advise about that. Sometimes surveyors also can do salvage disposal of function with permission of insurance company. For that they are given some fees by insurance company, or at least they have to inform the client about salvage procedure and report insurance company on salvage aspects. Salvage is very important aspect, as it reduces the amount of loss. Like other intermediaries, surveyors are also to follow code of conduct. They have to maintain integrity, ethics. This is important. The report should be objective, their working should be objective, their behavior should be impartial, they should behave with courtesy. They should not feel that they are giving the claims. Claims are to be paid by insurance companies, so they should not act like bosses and act in a courteous manner. They should work only for allotted field. If they are having license only for motor, they cannot do engineering survey under erection all risk policy unless they are authorized for that branch, though they may be engineer. So it depends upon what type of license they have been given, and as per that they have to work. They have to work with due diligence, skillfully, and take utmost care of the work they are handling. If they are experienced person, they may be working with subordinates, so they have to encourage the subordinates and colleagues, peers, to take qualification in insurance and improve their skills. Every surveyor has to maintain register of work done by them with maximum details possible, and while doing survey work, there should not be any conflict of interest. They should not take up survey of any relatives damages or any job where they are directly or indirectly interested. And at all times they have to maintain confidentiality. So in this chapter we saw about insurance companies, reinsurance regulations for life and general insurance companies, about intermediaries, agents, corporate agents, brokers, third-party administrators and surveyors. As I told you, bank assurance are also corporate agents. They have to take corporate agency license from IRDA. Thank you.